making headlines this hour. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee of Pakistan, General Zahir Shamshad Mirza, pays a courtesy call on President Dr. Mohammad Muiz. The Maldives officially kicks off the celebrations for the 75th anniversary of Maldivian football with the grand unveiling of the official commemorative logo. And Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Abdullah Khalil says the United Nations, or UN, has played a vital role in the Maldives' development over the past 60 years since the country joined the UN. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. And now the news in detail. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee of Pakistan, General Zahir Shamshad Mirza, pays a courtesy call on President Dr. Mohammad Muiz. During the call held at the President's office, President Dr. Muiz warmly welcomed General Mirza to the Maldives. Their discussion centered on strengthening the long-standing bilateral relationship between the two nations and exploring new avenues for cooperation. Concluding the meeting, both the President and the Chairman emphasized the importance of continued collaboration and reaffirmed their shared commitment to further enhancing the partnership between the Maldives and Pakistan. The Maldives officially kicks off the celebrations for the 75th anniversary of Maldivian football with the grand unveiling of the official commemorative logo. The significant milestone of Maldivian football's Diamond Jubilee was marked by a high-profile ceremony attended by the President and a global football dignitary. The official logo was launched jointly by President Dr. Mohammad Muiz and visiting FIFA President Gianni Infantino during a celebratory festival held at the National Football Stadium in the capital Male. FIFA President Infantino's attendance underscored the international importance of the event, having traveled to the Maldives at the invitation of Football Association of Maldives, or FAM, President Ahmad Torig. The FAM has been preparing extensively for the year-long commemoration by establishing the Special Diamond Jubilee Committee. This dedicated body, formed following a decision by the new FAM Executive Committee, is tasked with ensuring a grand anniversary celebration. Football veteran Ali Suzain, a former national team coach and current coach of New Radiant Sports Club, has been appointed as the committee's chairman, overseeing coordination efforts guided by local football clubs. The Jubilee celebrations are set to feature 75 distinct activities integrated into the FAM's annual sports calendar. The overarching plans include a special anniversary football tournament scheduled for June next year. Further activities are focused on recognizing the sport's deep-seated cultural impact across the archipelago, including selecting a football personality from each island, identifying the island deemed most dedicated to football, and commissioning the release of an official celebratory song to mark the grand occasion. We now bring you the call to prayer for Isha.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدًا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقامًا محمودًا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
PSM ಗೆ ಟಿವಿ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತಕ ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತ ಮಿಹಾರು PSM Air ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನು ತಿಯ ಬೇಫ್ಲುನ್ನ ಹಿಲೆ ಬಲಾಲೆವೇನೆ ಅದಿ ಅಡುವ ಹಾಲೆವೇನೆ ದುನಿಯೆಗೆ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ತಾಗುಹುರೆಗೆ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಗಡಿಯಕು PSM ಗೆ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತ ಬಲಾಲುಮ ಅವಹ PSM Air app ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಕುರವ್ವ ಮಿಹಾರು ಆಪ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ನ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ ಮಿ ಆಪ್ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಕೊಲ್ಲೆವೇನೆ
Welcome back to our English news program. We continue with the local headlines. The Independent Institutions Committee of the Parliament approves the appointment of Mohammad Farasad as the President of the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission. The Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission comprises 7 members, 3 of whom are elected by the parliament and 4 by media representatives. Farsat, a former member of the Civil Service Commission or CSC, was approved for the presidency following interviews conducted by the Independent Institutions Committee with all 7 members of the commission. Although Farsat had been approved for the role, his appointment must still be confirmed through a parliamentary vote. Although parliamentary approval is required to appoint the commission's president, its vice president is elected by a vote among commission members. The newly formed Media Commission will assume the combined responsibilities of the former Maldives Media Council or MMC and the Maldives Broadcasting Commission or Broadcom. All documentation and archives pertaining to newspapers and magazines currently registered with the relevant government ministry will be transferred to the new commission. Going forward, new media and broadcasters will be required to apply for registration directly with this commission rather than the relevant ministry. The responsibilities of the MMC include establishing a compliant mechanism for broadcasters, media personnel, and journalists who act in violation of the Code of Conduct and other rules set out under the Act. It is the responsibility of the Commission to investigate breaches and take action against those who violate the Code of Conduct. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Abdullah Khalil says the United Nations or UN has played a vital role in the Maldives' development over the past 60 years since the country joined the UN. The minister made the remarks at a ceremony held on Thursday to commemorate UN Day. Speaking at the event, Minister Khalil said the Maldives takes pride in its decision to become a member of the UN. The minister said that despite being a small nation, the Maldives joined the organization with confidence and optimism. The minister said the Maldives' contributions at the UN demonstrate that every country, regardless of its size, can and should raise its voice and make it heard. He highlighted that the UN has been an important partner in the Maldives' development, noting that the country was the third to graduate from least developed country status to developing country status. The minister said the Maldives has been successful in advocating for issues faced by small island developing states or SIDS and described the country's current role as Vice President of the UN General Assembly and the Human Rights Council as a great honor. He reaffirmed that Maldives would always uphold the core principles of the UN and continue to strengthen cooperation with the UN. He highlighted the UN's long-standing support for the Maldives in various areas over the past 60 years and assured that it will continue to provide assistance in the years ahead. The event celebrated both the UN's 80th anniversary and the Maldives' 60 years of membership since 1965. A photo exhibition showcasing 6 decades of UN-Maldives collaboration and key milestones was launched as part of the ceremony. The event was attended by senior government officials, representatives from organizations, and those who have contributed to the Maldives' progress in various ways. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim emphasizes the need to develop strategic plans for the early prevention of diseases and infections. The minister made the remarks while addressing the closing ceremony of the Maldives National Infection Prevention and Control Conference organized by the Hulumale Hospital. The conference focused on early disease prevention by identifying the causes of infection and the protection of health workers. The one-day conference was attended by officials from 17 hospitals of 11 atolls, as well as universities and healthcare clinics also participated in the conference. In his address, Minister Nazim cited World Health Organization or WHO statistics showing that 1 in 10 people who visit a health facility contract an infection from that facility. He stressed the importance of ensuring the safety of both patients and health workers, noting that their safety must be prioritized. The minister further said the government's policy is expanding and improving health services as well as ensuring patient safety and fostering a culture of early prevention. The minister urged the Malay City Group of hospitals to hold a conference on early prevention of diseases and infections annually, emphasizing the need to formulate strategic plans for disease prevention in the light of the information and experience shared at such events. He affirmed that the government would give full cooperation and support to conduct similar conferences and implementing the resulting strategies. Speaking at the ceremony, the Chief Executive Officer or CEO of Malé City Group of Hospitals, Abdul Razzaq Halim, stressed the urgency of taking proactive measures as new diseases and stronger pathogens continue to emerge. He noted that all the facilities in the Malé City Group of Hospitals have infection prevention systems in place. Abdul Razzaq added that effective disease prevention requires proper isolation, disinfection, and responsible use of antibiotics. The Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation successfully concludes a key training program for marine vessel surveyors, marking a significant step towards streamlining safety compliance and certification processes, particularly in the atolls. The initiative focused on ensuring national maritime standards are upheld across all atolls, saw representatives from 38 local councils complete the comprehensive program. The ministry said that this expansion of qualified personnel will greatly facilitate the mandatory survey and certification of vessels operating across the island nation. The training program was specifically designed to equip local surveyors with the expertise necessary to identify all requisite factors for certification, ensuring that rural marine vessels strictly conform to the operational and safety standards established by the ministry. Under national maritime regulations, every vessel designed for use in Maldivian waters must undergo an annual survey and be equipped with safety measures appropriate to its purpose. Additionally, the regulations dictate that both the surveying process and the issuance of valid safety certificates can only be conducted by individuals and specific locations explicitly authorized by the ministry, as certificates issued by unauthorized parties are deemed invalid. The newly trained surveyors will be crucial in enforcing mandatory inspections required under various circumstances before a vessel's new registration prior to its initial placement in service upon the expiry of existing certificates, and following any significant accident or damage to the hull, engines, or other vital machinery. This nationwide effort is expected to bolster maritime safety standards by ensuring continuous compliance from all operating vessels. The Maldives Monetary Authority, or MMA, officially announces the establishment of a new fund designed to provide affordable housing loans through the nation's commercial banking system. This significant initiative, now formalized under the gazetted Inclusive National Affordable Housing Scheme regulations, aims to ensure accessible housing finance across the archipelago, aligning with the principles of Islamic financing. The comprehensive regulations detail the framework for the Inclusive National Affordable Housing Scheme, establishing the operational guidelines and the fund's management. The scheme's primary objective is to offer affordable financing solutions for the purchase of residences within the capital Malé area. Scheduled to run for an initial period of 5 years, this scheme is set to provide long-term support for aspiring homeowners. Under the new regulation, the Inclusive National Affordable Housing Scheme and its accompanying fund will be meticulously administered by a financial institution specifically designated by the MMA. A cornerstone of the fund's operational model is the mandatory contribution from commercial banks where, unless otherwise specified by the MMA, each bank is mandated to contribute between 10% and 15% of the total amount of their loans and debts portfolio, thereby ensuring a robust capital base. Financial assistance under the scheme will be dispersed through two distinct avenues, the Type A financing facility and the Type B financing facility. The MMA will retain the prerogative to determine the specific allocations of funds for each facility type. Designed for long-term affordability and accessibility, the financing facilities will typically offer terms of at least 25 years, though a shorter repayment period can be granted if explicitly requested by the facility taker. Insights into business. Wall Street advances as investors mulled a mix of batch of corporate earnings and shifting geopolitical concerns. All three major U.S. stock indexes closed higher, with tech strength nudging the Nasdaq into the lead. But the small-cap Russell 2000 was the clear outperformer.
Well, we're certainly, in the heart of earnings season. And if you just roll back a few weeks before this started, there was a lot of uncertainty, didn't feel like it was the best summer. And yet earnings are coming through from almost every industry pretty darn good. And so the market is rewarding that and gaining confidence with these business results.
The indexes gained some momentum after the White House confirmed U.S. President Donald Trump will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping next week as part of his trip through Asia. Trade tensions between Washington and Beijing have been escalating in recent days, marked by tit-for-tat retaliatory measures announced by both sides. Confirmation that the two leaders would meet next week appeared to ease those tensions. Trump announced sanctions against Russian oil companies, marking a sharp policy shift in ramping up the pressure on Moscow over its war against Ukraine, ratcheting up geopolitical strife and sending world oil prices jumping. Third quarter reporting season has hit full stride. Tesla shares rebounded, gaining 2.3% following its third quarter profit miss. The electric vehicle maker was the first of the Magnificent Seven group of megacap momentum stocks that account for more than a third of the S&P 500's market cap. IBM dropped 0.9% after reporting a slowdown in its key cloud software segment, eclipsing its earnings beat. So far, just over a quarter of the companies in the S&P 500 have reported third-quarter results. According to LSEG data, of those 86% have beaten consensus expectations. In aggregate, analysts currently expect S&P 500 third-quarter earnings growth of 9.9% year-on-year, up from their 8.8% growth estimate as of October 1st per LSEG. Taking a look at world events, the UN Security Council meets to discuss the situation in Gaza. Israel and Hamas have reiterated their commitment to the U.S.-mediated ceasefire while trading accusations of repeated violations since it took effect on October 10th.
We will work with President Trump, with regional international partners, to transform a fragile and volatile ceasefire into just and lasting peace, with Palestinian agency and Palestinian liberation as our goal, with mutual recognition and peaceful coexistence as cornerstones. What we need is not a pause in the violence and injustice, but an end to them. Violence is an impasse. It must not be fueled nor tolerated. It must be stopped. And we will not relent in our rejection of violence against all civilians.
The deal has so far seen the release of hostages held in Gaza in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, a handover of bodies of some deceased hostages, and a partial pullout of Israeli troops. However, Israel has constantly violated the terms of the peace agreement, including the restriction of aid into Gaza and closing the Rafah border. Earlier on Thursday, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said that President Donald Trump would oppose Israeli annexation of the occupied West Bank, and it would not happen, suggesting a move by Israeli lawmakers toward that end looked like a stupid political stunt. A bill applying Israeli law to the West Bank, a move tantamount to annexation of a territory that Palestinians seek for part of a future independent state, won preliminary approval from Israeli lawmakers. There are hundreds of thousands of people living illegally in Jewish settlements across the West Bank. The United Nations and much of the international community consider these settlements illegal under international law. The car stops, the customer opens the door, and is greeted by nobody behind the wheel. Instead, a remote pilot is sitting in a room equipped with monitors and an attached steering wheel to operate the car. For the so-called driverless car-sharing company Vay, this is the future of mobility.
What we are about to launch here in Europe and in Germany is a new mobility category that we call driverless rental cars. Yeah? So we see the future that there will be robo-taxis and driverless rental cars. Both will coexist with different benefits. Driverless rental cars work in the way that you click a button, you get a car, right, remotely delivered with no person inside within a few minutes, and then the customer gets inside and drives the car him or herself.
The task of driving lies in the hands of the remote controller, the pilot. Operating from his steering wheel and 3 monitors, he also has a large red button to his left. If something happens, he can stop the vehicle immediately. The result, less cars on the street, no need for people to own their own car. For Van der Ohe, his company is a vision of the future. In Germany, the technology is currently being tested following regulatory changes that allow the launch of commercial remote driving services at scale. While their driverless cars might still take some more time before becoming full reality in Germany, Van der Ohe believes that it could contribute to developing remote-controlled and autonomous driving technology. And that's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ahil from PSM News.